Good morning. Welcome to my hot mess of a Monday. How are you guys? Today is the 15th. We are halfway through September. Don't know how that happened. Um, Seriously, I just don't understand. I had an appointment with some clients scheduled for this week, but in my brain, I was thinking, okay, so the middle of September, that's next week. So when I actually looked at my calendar last night to kind of map everything out for this week, I was like, oh no, like that's this week. So do you feel like I do? Do you feel like things are going way too quickly and you can't catch up? I feel like, have you ever seen people like at a farm or whatever, and they're chasing around trying to get the chickens? That's what I feel like sometimes. I'm like, okay, all this stuff is going on, and then I find a piece of paper, and then that leads me to another piece of paper, and then I have to do this phone call, and then I have a text message, and then I need to get on the computer and get some work done. And it's like I'm chasing, and it's kind of chaotic. So good morning. On that note, you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. I don't even have my Diet Coke, but you know what? I might have one right over there in that fridge over there. I might have to grab one at some point. You know what? In a little bit, when I put one of the little bumpers on for one of our segments, I'll go grab a Diet Coke. But for the moment, good morning to you, my friends. Hello, pumpkin. It is definitely fall. I know you're feeling it. I know you are. You have to at this point. I mean, yeah, it kind of is still hot, but pretending. You know what the stores tell us? The stores tell us that it is time for fall. Actually, they also tell us it's time for Christmas, because I was there the other day. I was like, slow your roll, please. Like, just slow it, just a little, just a tad. Anyway, good morning. Anybody that I may have missed as you were popping in, I did good today. I started a few seconds late, but then I think I got everybody. I left off with Daryl and Susan. So anyone that may have popped in since then, Richard, good morning. Jay Veneziano, I don't know if I pronounced it correctly, but Jay, awesome. Good morning to you. Allison, good morning. Anybody else that I may have missed? If you're watching and you didn't pop in to actually text hello, good morning to you guys as well. I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend and that you have a wonderful week ahead. So let's talk about the chaos and confusion of life. Of all things real estate, of all things Horizon West, everything is busy. Everything is crazy. Personal life, business life, happy for all of it. It's a lot going on. It's a lot going on. So yeah, I have, actually, this is ice water because I've already had my coffee. So ice water. But I do have some coffee in here. So aren't these cute? Oh, this way. I'm so bad at this. Hello, pumpkin spice. Anyway, good morning. All right, anyone else pop in? Michelle. Oh, Miss Michelle. Okay, so Miss Michelle, where's Miss Michelle? Good morning, sunshine. Good morning to you. Cheers to you, my sweet friend. If you don't know who Michelle is, Miss Michelle is, she, when I had my dance studio in Virginia, came to me when she was a little girl, and she came to me from another studio that was closing or closed or something, and she was looking for a new dance studio. And she came in and I think Michelle reminded me, I think she observed one of the classes to see if we were the right fit for her. Again, this is back when I was a dance teacher, right? Had my dance studio. And the thing that she says she remembers the most, which is funny because I don't remember saying it, but I know I would have said it. It's totally an Amy thing to say. I think I said something to the effect of, I hope you liked watching the class. We'd love you to come dance with us. But if you don't, I still love you. And for whatever reason, I think she remembers that. And anyway, so Michelle grew up through my studio and became my co-teacher. She taught, expanded the studio. We ended up having 2 teaching rooms. So she had a full slate of kids. And then when my dance studio closed, and Miss Michelle, she kind of knew that I was moving to Florida. I kind of kept her in the loop. At this point, she's a grown woman, right? So little girl, grown woman, long time. I'm old. And Miss Michelle, she took over the studio, and now she's got her own thriving studio there in the area with a lot of familiar faces there. So I love you, Miss Michelle. I'm going to come visit you again very, very, very soon. Okay, so let's see. Where am I? Is there anyone else that may have popped in? I think I got everybody. Okay. So first of all, somebody asked a couple weeks ago about Rob, and I have not heard from Rob, and I'm very, very concerned. So if anyone knows Rob or had any other contact information with Rob, let me know, because I know he was having some health issues, and I'm going to have to go back through Eric's phone and see if maybe Eric had any contact with him outside of our coffee times, because it wasn't a client of mine, didn't have any relationship with him outside of our Monday morning chats. But boy, he was a big part of them. So I'm hoping he's doing okay. Hopefully he's just busy doing some new, fun, exciting things. Maybe we're boring, which we are. At any rate, if you know him, if you have a way to contact him, I just want to make sure he's doing okay, because I've been thinking about him a lot ever since somebody noticed that he has not been here in a while. So anyway, all right, let's get going. We have a lot of things to talk about. I have a sweater on. I'm pretending that it's chilly. I'm pretending that it's cool. I am pretending, folks. All right, let's get going. Okay, all right. So what's brewing? We have some topics here: blessings in disguise, short sale versus foreclosure, and can you confirm the showing? And the answer should be yes. Clearly, I am invested in that particular topic for today. So real quick, so Garite said, when we were talking about the holidays, Garite said that in their local stores they've got tins of chocolate on sale already for Christmas. Jane says here too, and remember they're UK. Garite, you're Wales, correct? Miss Michelle says I love you too, and then Miss Susan says Miss Michelle saved our hearts when Miss Amy moved to Florida. You guys don't make me cry. I cried last week. I vow to not cry today. All right, so our blessings in disguise. So our topic for today, the first of our brewing topics, is referencing it's so funny because, Allie edited this. I put my little place marker or what do you call them? Placeholders in what the topics are, and the ever accomplished writer that she is, she spruced it up. A tale as old as real estate. So true. When sellers reject your advice, they list you high with another agent and the house never sells. And this is a personal anecdote. So this is true story. And this was a listing. It's been a while now. It's been, I don't know. Let's say it's probably been 6-7 months. I believe it was right after Eric passed. At any rate, there was a family in our neighborhood that reached out for me to list their home. So I reached out, went in, took a look, did the home valuation, gave them the numbers. And remember, it was an uncharacteristically slow spring and summer. And that's the way I refer to it, because it's not just that it was slow. It's just uncharacteristically slow. It's like we don't normally have slow summer or spring and summers, but we did this year, which we'll talk about later. But anyway, so we had a listing appointment. I had a listing appointment. Boy, that's hard to change that. I had a listing appointment. So I went and I, talked to them, showed them the whole report, the deep data dive, as I call it. And, when I gave them the number, weren't super happy with the number, which I understand, because I always ask people, what are you thinking? A lot of times people don't want to tell me what they're thinking to list their home for, because they think I'm just going to tell them that number. To which I respond, you don't know me, because no, I don't, I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear, but you telling me that you're expecting it to be listed for 900 when I'm telling you it's going to be listed at 700 helps me manage the expectation in my conversation with you. Right. That's why I ask what that number is that you're hoping for, because, it helps me figure out, how do we have the conversation? Is it something achievable, or what do we have to do to achieve it if we're within the realm of conversation? At any rate, had the conversation, gave them the number. They did not agree. They thought that was way too low. Okay. Keep in mind, this is in my neighborhood, which is funny because as I was pulling comps, and as I have been for some new listings that are also coming up in the community, as I was going through the sold comps, I'm like, those are all my sales. Like, I had a lot of sales in that community. And so I kind of have a pretty good understanding of what's going on in the community. At any rate, did not like my number. Totally fine. If you don't like the number, that's okay. But I was not willing to list it at the number she wanted. However, she found another realtor who would, another, high profile realtor, but more of a big group team concept. So it's really about name recognition as opposed to maybe necessarily getting the job done. And they listed it coincidentally for what she wanted. And as I was doing comps for another listing I have coming up in the neighborhood, I was going through and I was looking at all the actives, the pending, the solds, and those that were withdrawn or canceled. And I noticed that one they canceled it. So it was priced too high. It was on the market for months and months and months. They never lowered the price. Or if they did, it was like a small, like little tiny, like, $5 $5,000 reduction. Anyway, and it expired. And so the story of that is now that when I'm speaking to I have 2 different listings coming on the market soon. Can't talk about them yet because our rules here in Florida. Um, but the 2 listings that I have coming up, I'm using that story in an understanding of where the market is. Because while they didn't choose me to list their home, which is totally fine, and I can't guarantee that it would have sold where I told them to list it anyway, because I can't guarantee that. In this market, I absolutely cannot guarantee it. It is, and as we talk later on in coffee time about the market, we've talked about this week after week. Things are just taking a really long time to sell. At any rate, it's a story. It's a story now that I have to share. Again, someone, a seller has a different expectation. They value their home a little bit more, or maybe that's just what they needed to make off of it to make it work for them. At either rate, I know they moved out because I saw the moving truck. Like I saw them moving stuff out of the house. So it just makes me wonder, what if you had priced it accurately, or at least in the realm of reality, and gotten the foot traffic? Because as I can attest, right, as someone who does a lot, it's not like I'm a new agent. It's not like I don't have a good track record. It's not like I don't have a market report with production pages and pages and pages long. Still not going to guarantee anything because we can't. But I've got listings that are sitting and sitting and sitting. I've got listings where the sellers have decided, you know what, let's just cut it because holidays are approaching and I just want to be able to enjoy the holidays, and we'll regroup after the first of the year. I've had that happen too. So point is, you always think the what if game, right? But I will tell you, if you ever do go to list your home, as I've said before, okay, if you don't like what a realtor says, if you really truly in your heart of hearts feel like your home should be priced higher because you have this, that, and the other, and your engaged realtor that you said, hey, can you do a valuation? You haven't signed anything with them yet, but if they've done a valuation and they don't agree, and you decide you want to get a second opinion, I think that's fine. Just like in the medical world, if you're not really happy, do your due diligence, get a second opinion. If you find another realtor to list it or that can justify a number closer to what you want, whereas the other agent had a number that was lower, ask them how they got to that number. Ask them, should they say, show me the data. Show me the data where everything else is selling for $750 around here and it's taking them, 4, 5, 6 months to sell. Explain to me why my home that has a rear neighbor, I did some things to the inside that are very taste specific. Where are the comps? Where's the number to go $150,000 above what my neighbor just sold for 2 months ago with the exact same floor plan? That's what you need to be asking. So I think that's important because I like to be able to back up what I say with the data. I mean, goodness gracious, how many times have we said it? Eric and I always said these home valuations it's part science and part art. Right? The science is the data. It's going to tell us what is actually happening, what is selling, what are those numbers, how long has things been taking. And then the art of it is, okay, well, I know that community, they've got a really great, vibrant amenity center. They have this big new, whatever shopping center is going to be coming. So it's really going to elevate, or maybe it's going to be a deterrent for some people. Maybe they're going to go, I don't want to live next to a car wash. So who knows? But there's where the art part of it comes in. So anyway, point is, try to get a second opinion, and sometimes there's a little bit of validation when I kind of shake my head, and it makes my heart sad when we try so hard to give people accurate information, and then and they don't like it, which I understand. But at any rate, so there's a lesson for you, and it's an example for me now that I can use as I go to the other homeowners in the community that are looking to sell, as to a reason why you don't want to list it too crazy cuckoo high. So anyway, hopefully that helped. All right, what's popping in over here? Let's see. By the way, are we having technical issues today? Let's see. Yes, we all hope Rob is okay, Jane. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, perfect. Okay, good. Allie's making sure that we have a fabulous Monday. And don't forget to give the stream a like and make sure that you're subscribed. Okay, so let's move on to our brewing topic number 2, which is short sales versus foreclosures. One of the things is I have a client going through the purchase of a short sale right now. I have never listed a short sale or a foreclosure. I have a client right now in the process of purchasing a short sale. Candidly, there's just not that many of them. I'm starting to see a few more for various reasons, but I do have a client that's in the middle of purchasing a short sale. So it kind of gave me an idea, as everything that we do here on Coffee Time. It's coming from real situations, real conversations, real questions. Short sale versus foreclosure. So in a short sale, the short sale is a voluntary action by a homeowner. So if the homeowner has various reasons, they can request approval from their lender to sell the home as a short sale. And the reason they have to get the lender approval is because the lenders, if they sell it, they may not be getting their full money back, or potentially all of that has to be determined in the course of the sale and the accepted offer. The lender has a say so in that. And that's kind of what we're going through right now. I don't know all the particulars of the seller's situation as to why she is going at this as a short sale. The home is less than a year old or right at a year old, so it's brand new. I don't know. And, candidly, that's for whatever reason. I hope everything is going on in their life okay. But clearly there's something financially that is distressing them, that puts them in a situation where they're not going to be able to get back what they put in. Now, candidly, if you go to sell a home, I always tell people, you do you, right? Do what you need to do, what you feel is going to be right. But do not purchase a home if you plan on selling it within a year or two, or 3 sometimes, unless it's just a really great spot, a really great location, because you're probably not going to have time to recoup that. Years ago, like during COVID times, when they were building these houses, they were cranking them out, and by the time your new construction home was built, you already had 25 grand equity, because the base prices were going boom, 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 and they were selling out as fast as you could, just imagine. People would be able to sell their home pretty quickly and get a nice little turnaround. That's not where we are right now. So don't purchase a home with the expectation that you're going to sell it immediately in this type of a situation. And in this case, it was a new construction home. So that's kind of where I'm going with it. Resale, whatever, life happens. We all know, right? Life happens. Sometimes you find yourself in a situation where, for whatever reason, you choose to sell, and maybe it's too soon. Maybe you're not going to recoup everything back, or maybe it's going to be a break even, or however it ends up working for you. But short sale is a voluntary action. Foreclosure, however, is typically after the homeowner has missed several payments for the mortgage, and at this point the bank is going to be in control, and they take the legal action to take control back and force the sale of the property. So there are 2 different things. So again, the short sale is a voluntary action by a homeowner. It does require the lender or the bank approval. So it's important, if that's a situation that you might find yourself in, then make sure you reach out to that lender and you discuss what it is that you're going to do. And then foreclosure is different. You don't really have any control of that. It's you've missed your payments, not just one, usually not just 2. I'm not really sure how many payments you have to miss. I don't know if it's a rule, because remember, I'm not a lender, I'm not a title company, I'm not a mortgage broker. That's not my area of expertise. So real detailed questions about either of these, you can make sure you reach out to them. But definitely when it comes to a foreclosure, that's when you have not paid your mortgage payments, and the bank they'll give you warnings, and they'll give you a chance to get caught up. And if you are just not in a situation where you can do that, then that's when they will take legal action, and they will force the sale of the property. So anyway, good information there. I hope all of us never find ourselves in a short sale or in a foreclosure situation ever. But if you do, it's okay, right? It's part of life. It's got some negative effects, but here's the thing. If you need to sell and you get it sold, then that just allows you the opportunity to keep moving and keep going and figure out the next thing. So if you've got questions about that, reach out to the appropriate people. And again, I hope none of us have to go through those. Some of you may have gone through them. So if you have, maybe you can chime in and let us know kind of how that works. Tracy says, as a current buyer, one thing I know you'll help us with is determining if a price reduction on a home makes it a good deal, or if the seller is bringing the price down to a more realistic price. Tracy, yes, ma'am. In fact, Tracy, I was going to message you later today to find out kind of what we want to do. But on that note, 100%. Because and again, as we talk a little bit later about the market, there are some agents out there. There are some realtors that do have their homes priced correctly. Like I've got a lot of them, right? But they're still not selling. So there's other outside factors that are creating this market, the really, really, really slow, painstakingly slow process to get the homes sold. But yes, Tracy, to your point, no matter what home you end up deciding to purchase, any of my clients decide to purchase, I will do the same thing for them that we do for one of my clients that is selling or listing their home, which is the deep data dive. It's the same process, guys. It's the same one. If I have a client that is listing their property, we do the deep data dive. We do the valuations. We do the comparables. We do that art and that science, and we kind of determine what the market is telling us that we could sell that home for based on the other sold properties around it recently. That is going to be a really good thing. Now, when we go to the buyer side of it, when you go, you know what, I really like that home at 123 Main Street. Is it priced okay? Guess what? I'm going to do the deep data dive and I'm going to find out for you, is that priced correctly based on the other comps? Now, candidly, if we're going to go see 10 homes, we're just going to go get those showing requests confirmed, and we're going to go see 10 homes. And then at that point, if you've got 3 or 4 that you're like, okay, I really like these 3 or 4, then we do the deep data dive and we find out if they're priced correctly. I mean, unless it's like a blatantly obvious, like you are totally in cuckoo land, we're going to go see the homes that you like. We're going to go see them because I want you to be inside them, to feel them, to feel if that's the right space for you. And if it is, then we're going to go, okay, you know what? They have it priced at X. Here's the data. Here's the comps. You know what? I think they have it priced really well. They just did a price reduction. Now they're definitely in line with where the fair market value is. And I think this is good. I think this is a good deal. Or yeah, they're, in my opinion, they're about 25,000 too high. So I don't know how that's going to pan out. Maybe we should submit an offer. Let me talk to the other agent. Maybe we could ask for a concession. So there's, to Tracy's point, yes, when we get to that point, if it's a resale home, new construction, we don't have really any control over unless it's an aged inventory, which we've talked about before. But if it is a resale home, then 100% yes. We talk about, what that might look like, what that purchase price and that offer price might look like for you. So yay. Okay. All right, let's keep going. What is my brewing? We're going to zoom through this today. Good gracious. I'm going fast. Okay. Number 3. Okay. This one is a little bit of a frustration. So this is my rant moment. Okay. I'm just going to rant here for just a hot second. If you, and this is for anyone trying to sell their house, anybody, my client, my neighbor's client, live in Florida, live in Montana. If you have your home on the market, you must understand that you are going to be inconvenienced for the time period that your home is on the market. You are. But the reward is going to be so much better than that inconvenience, even if that inconvenience is 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, however many days it ends up being. You have to understand that your home is on the market. You are saying, hey, I have something, I'm selling it, and I would really, really like you to buy it. And you know what? I know it's really expensive. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars. And then you don't confirm a showing. And then we in this market where we're desperate for buyers and we're desperate for showing requests, and we get one, and you don't immediately say, yes, ma'am, confirm that showing. What are you doing? You just eliminated the opportunity for someone to come in your home who was interested enough to request a showing to see it. So you need to confirm those showings. If you happen to be sick, like really sick, okay, that's understandable. But then you know what you do? If you're not feeling well and you know that you're going to be in bed for the next however many days, you've got the flu or whatever the case is, then you let your listing agent know, and let's block off those days on the showing calendar so that anyone that wants to request a showing sees that those days are blocked out. For whatever reason, they're blocked out. Because what's worse is them requesting a showing and then me reaching out to my client, hey, we have a showing request for 12:30. Can you confirm? And then time ticks by. You haven't confirmed it yet. You haven't even responded to it at all. And then all of a sudden the agent who wants to show the property, who, by the way, has a buyer pre-approved hot and ready to go find something to buy in a market where we're desperate for them. We're like dangling carrots, like, please, please, please come look at our house. They're making an itinerary because I'm sure they're not just coming to see your house. That's what you need to understand. It's not usually a one and done. When as realtors, we take our clients out to look at houses, we create an itinerary for however many houses. It could be one house, but in most cases it's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 houses. And we map out the showing schedule. We have to get those showings confirmed. We have to create, the timeline to get from point A to point B. We want to allow you enough time in the house, and we need to get those showings confirmed so that we can move on, so that we can, find out if we're going to be able to show your home or not. Because if not, we're moving on to the next one. So when we call and we say, or text and say, we have this showing, can you please confirm? Please, for the love of selling your house, say yes, and then figure out the details later. Because when you say yes, I can let the other agent know. They can make sure that our showing is one of the several that they're going to be seeing that day for a client who's pre-approved, prepped, and ready, who wants to buy something and has already seen your house online and says, yes, I would like to see that in person. We have already crossed a few of these hurdles and these thresholds already. So when you get the showing request text message or phone call or however you get it from your realtor, please do yourself and do everyone a favor and confirm it right away. Know that your house needs to be clean. Know that your house needs to be prepped and ready at a moment's notice. And have those measures in place. If you work, if you have security alarms, if you have pets, make sure that those potential challenges have been discussed prior to your home going active. So that if you do have a security system, I just had a closing with it was actually my sellers and my buyers. And every time we had a showing, I had to make sure that the sellers not only confirmed the showing, but then I would call them the day of the showing or send them a message saying, hey, just as a reminder, we have a showing, and turn off that security alarm because they could remotely disarm it. You have to have those plans in place. Okay, you have a pet. Well, the pet's usually in the house roaming around while I'm at work. Okay, well, how are you going to sell your house? So if we know that we have a showing scheduled the next day, hopefully you've got a plan in place, whether it's a neighbor or a friend, or maybe they're crated for the day. I've never been a good crater dog parent, by the way. But whatever measures you need to take in place, we need to do that. So for the love of selling your house, please, I am literally begging you to make sure your home is prepped and ready before you go to bed at night, so that when you wake up in the morning and the chaos of the morning coffee and getting out the door for work or school or whatever it is that you need to do, please make sure that your home is prepped and ready. You can scooch out the door and you can know that it's in a condition to be shown. You just have to kind of live that way. If you don't already, you kind of have to make some changes. All right, rant over. Thanks for listening. Okay. I'm sorry. I am just, it's just one of those things. It just drives me nuts. Oh, Melody, I love you. Melody, like, we need to put, I mean, I can't put you on payroll, Melody, but if I could, here, I'm just going to send you love and hugs. Here's your reminder to hit the like button if you can. Melody does not get a paycheck or anything from me, but I appreciate that so much. All right, let's move on. So we did our brewing topics. So that's really good. Now, on with that, I want to talk a little bit about the market because it is relevant to the three topics that we just talked about. And this is really, really important. So quarter two, obviously we're getting ready the end of September to end quarter three, but it takes a while sometimes to get the full picture, not just the local picture, but the full picture of a larger, more broad area to see what those numbers actually look like. Quarter two, right? Ended, so this is August 2025, right? So this is the facts. This is the numbers, guys, from our market. You can take a look at the active listings, the new listing, the pending sales, listings sold, the days on the market. That's an interesting one, 73. The average days on the market. Now remember, it used to be like 30. There was a period of time it was like 20. There was a period of time where it was like single digits, like things were going as soon as you put them up. I mean, there were times when I literally put a home on the market. I had not, like, it was active in the MLS and I was driving to the house to put the sign and the lockbox on the door, and I had a call that day with a cash offer. That's how cuckoo crazy it has been in the past, and we are not there. Looking at those numbers for sure. So some of the big takeaways for this one, and I say this all the time, and it's important to me to be transparent because people need to know the reality, good and bad. I still think we live in a very magical place in Disney's backyard. I still think Florida is a fabulous, fabulous place to come, whether you're coming to live here and start out a family, or whether you want to come work for the mouse, or whether you want to go work at Universal, or whether you just want to retire, or you're downsizing. Maybe you want to spend the cold winters up north. You want to come to Florida and spend them where it's warm. Whatever your reason, I still think our area is a magnificent place to live, especially here in Disney's backyard. But here's the hard, cold facts. Single family homes. So now this means an actual house, whether it's a 1-story or a 2-story or a bungalow, whatever. A single family home has 5 months of inventory. So we talk about that saturation rate. Eric used to talk about that a lot. He used to describe it very, very well. It's hard for me to describe it, but the point is 5 months of inventory. That's a lot of houses that are currently on the market, and it's going to take a long time for all of those to get sold for the number of buyers that are there. Because of that, you are seeing the prices declining anywhere from 2 to 4%. This is data. This is not me. This is the actual data through the MLS. Multifamily homes, so like townhouses, is double the inventory, 10 months of inventory. 10 months of inventory for those townhomes. So if you have a townhome and you're trying to sell, or those condos, yeah, it's taken a while. There's why, right there. 10 months of inventory. And the not so great news on those is that the prices are declining anywhere from 7 to 9%. Again, real data, not me saying it, not me searching it. This is what the MLS is telling us. Single family homes, 5 months of inventory, prices declining 2 to 4%. Multifamily homes, 10 months of inventory. That's a lot of months, guys. Declining 7 to 9%. And what this means, again, is that the sellers have the seller's mindset has not appropriately adjusted to the current market conditions. And I do put some of that on the listing agents, because listing agents or realtors that are newer are kind of desperate to get the client. So they'll tell them whatever they want to hear because they want to lock in the client. Whether it's as a buyer agent or if it's a listing, if they have the opportunity to get a listing, they're not going to probably fight back on suggesting that they listed at a lower price because they just want the listing. Well, I want the listing too. I want to sell your house. I want it to get sold. And it's not going to do me any good if I had, back to number 1 earlier today, one brewing topic, if I had told them, okay, sure, I don't agree, but I'll list it for whatever, that house would have done exactly what it did. I would not have gotten it sold. And I take things way too personally to have that. So there you go. Market conditions are continuing to decline. Now, part of that is because of where we are in the timeline of the year. So some of it is fiscally based, right? We're now in the holiday season approaching, right? September, October, November, December. We're starting to hit that fall, coming into Thanksgiving, Christmas, all the holidays that are starting to happen. Things start to slow down anyway. And as that happens, it's going to take longer. So that's where that number is coming from. The list prices to the actual sales price is what's giving you these declines in basically. So if you list your home at X amount and it sells for X amount, when they manage that data, they're telling you that houses are selling less than what they're asking for. So it's important. Again, list prices are too high and they're sitting on the market too long. That is true. And as an agent who's got several listings, and I feel like I can stand by where we have them listed, but people still aren't seeing them. So the value of anything is what someone is willing to pay for it. So while your house, you may have paid X amount for it right now, maybe it's not, maybe we're not there. Maybe you don't have as much equity as you thought, or maybe you're breaking even, or maybe you're even gonna take a little bit of a loss if you have to sell right now. And again, back to the average days of the market is 73. I just think that's some really good data to know. I don't want that to be discouraging to anybody in the sense of, oh, wow, well, we shouldn't sell right now. Well, this is horrible. This is tragic. Everything's going to crash. No. We're not those sensationalist people. We're not trying to freak you out. There are a lot of things going on. There are outside influences that affect things. Interest rates. We've all talked about interest rates for months and months and months and months and months. There's just outside things that we cannot control that definitely affects whether or not people feel comfortable selling or feel comfortable buying? What is their buying power? Can they be approved for something? If so, how much? And what is that property going to look like? Because their buying power, if they had bought, 4 years ago, would have been completely different than it is now. So there's just a lot of information, and it's not easy. Real estate is not easy, and it is not a one size fits all, and it is not the same answer to every question every time you ask it. If you ask me the question today, I'll give you one answer. Ask me that same question a month, it may be a different answer. If you asked me that same question 3 years ago, it was probably a different answer. And that's because nothing is exactly the same when it comes to the real estate market. Okay, process and procedure, that stays the same, but the rest of it can change on a whim, like on a whim. So anyway, okay, so let us keep on going because I've got some other things. So let's talk some happy stuff. What do you want to talk about that's happy? I know, secrets. Okay, so I after Kim last week when we were talking about the connector road to from New Independence Parkway over to all right, there's a hair somewhere around me. Okay, when we talked about the Sawgrass Bay and that road connecting, which is essentially connecting to the Flemings Road. We were talking about New Independence Parkway, and then we were talking about the other connector, which is where the other one is in Claremont, which was, by the way, the first one that started. That was the first one that started. In Lake County, it had their side done for a long time. That is the road off of Highway 27. If you turn onto Sawgrass Bay Boulevard into the Sawgrass Bay area, it continues down that same road. Sawgrass Bay Boulevard becomes Serenoa Community, but it's still Sawgrass Bay Boulevard. You continue on down, then it will connect to the Orange County side, which is Flemings Road, which is the road that goes directly in front of Encore at Ovation and North Star, or Lake Star rather, that area, directly to Western Way at Disney. So it's been a huge game changer, and it has been on the table for a long time. But Kim was talking last week about how upset those residents are, and it kind of clicked for me. I was like, you know what, you're right. I would be ticked off too if I had been told and sold homes in an area where, again, there was no guarantee of the completion date, because that's always going to be fluid too, right? There's going to be other things that affect the construction timeline. But anyway, I did some looking into it, and this is actually from, I believe this is from, let me confirm. I think this was the West 2. I think this was the news article that was done on it. So this is the Flemings Road update. The plan, the county said, is to 4-lane Flemings from Avalon to the Orange County side to Sawgrass Bay Boulevard in Lake County, right? That's what we've been talking about. The county said that it's still working on getting the road construction project on track and completed, but it is a complicated process, of course, involving right-of-way acquisitions. An engineer's report evaluating the pavement's strength, commissioned by Orange County and released this year, found that the western half of Flemings, the closed portion of the road, is weaker than the eastern portion. Okay, this is where those traffic engineers and those road engineers and structural engineers all come into play. It cites a projection of 15,000 vehicle trips per day, and it says that the pavement on the road would begin to deteriorate after a year if that amount of the trips were taken over it. The report cites 11% of the traffic volume coming from trucks. Connect 2025 and Running said trucks should be limited from driving the road, and that the road is capable of handling traffic while the plans to 4-lane the road continue. The amended plan has completion set for November of 2026. So still over a year from now, Orange County will vote to approve right-of-way acquisition at next week's, which is this week's, by the way, because this was just September 9th, I believe, that this article was done. They will vote to approve the right-of-way acquisition at next week's council meeting with a need for the Central Florida Tourism Oversight District and Walt Disney World to approve easements. Once all right-of-ways are acquired, the county said the road construction can begin, is estimated to take about 18 months. So there's an update on that. I'm sure that for someone like Kim and people that are dealing with this and their groups, they probably have heard all of this stuff before. But this actually was really kind of timely, because there was this big article and for whatever reasons, citing that this is part of the delay and what they need to do in order to complete this project. On another note, another little secret is Schofield Road. Now, Schofield Road, as we talk about those connector roads over to over to connecting Lake County to Orange County, and the Schofield Road is the one that is going to. There's first of all an exit off of 429 at Schofield. That is the one that is going to take you to like the Ridgeview community with the Wellness Way area, directly out to 27, and all of the other communities. When you go back in there, you'll see it's like just this whole big area now. That road, there's been a construction project happening there as well. Some more kind of connector and feeder roads there. So basically, there's just a big report that if you happen to live in the area, that the Schofield exit there and Avalon Road are going to be an absolute nightmare. They kind of are, to be honest. We were so grateful when they finally got the stoplights. I think on one of our Sunday drives, Eric and I talked about how excited we were. They had like the little temporary ones up there. Now they have more permanent ones. But it's important. That intersection is really, really, really tricky. And it's really gotten bad if you were trying to take that exit off of 429 around work hours when you're trying to get out, because you have Schofield, which is now connected. And by the way, for you old timers that have been with me for a long time, Schofield, my friends, is the bumpity bump. So a lot has happened. A lot of progress has been made, but it's just a continuation of it. And so, kind of let that be kind of a lesson when you do choose areas that are newly developing, not just one new construction community. Like, let's say they just removed cleared some land and they're popping up one new community. That's different than an entire area like Horizon West and that whole big master plan. Remember that when completed, it will be the largest master plan development in the United States. And it has been years in the making now. It's been years and years prior to that in the planning stages. And there are so many of us that live there and work there, and it's just a great place to be. It is still growing. It is not done. And these connector roads, candidly really does wreak havoc on the traffic there for those of us who are in Horizon West specifically. So you're going to get it kind of from all sides. I saw an article. Somebody complained about how much the stoplights were costing on Schofield and Avalon Road, to which somebody replied, and all of the lives that it has saved, because the number of accidents that were there were ridiculous. Many, 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 many accidents and fatalities right there. So you're going to complain about the cost of the stoplight? Like, what's a life worth? And far more than a stoplight, my friends. Anyway, Kim, that's just an excuse they're using. Schofield was a much weaker road. The builders are the holdup. They want to sell their homes first. I believe that too. Especially like like Lake Star and some of those other communities that are there. They want to get that stuff completed so that the traffic going down Fleming's is not a deterrent or someone who might think twice about purchasing in there. I will tell you, every single community has lots that are tucked away and nestled and beautiful and are protected from road noise or views. And then there are other homes that back right up to it. And that's just part of the process. And the home that backs right up to it is not going to sell for as much as the one that's tucked away back in the community where it's kind of nestled around the trees and it's a little bit quieter and a little bit more isolated. That's it for every single community. So why the builders freak out about it, I don't know. I mean, you got a great product, so I would think they would sell really well. Anyway, all right, but yes, Kim, I figured that was what you had already been hearing, and that was just kind of the same story, different day type situation. But I had not heard about the road part of it, like the strength of the road, and with a son who is son-in-law, still my son-in-law who is a traffic engineer, and going through some of the conversations with him. I mean, those types of things actually, they are real, whether or not it's real in this case. Roads that are not meant to withstand a certain amount of traffic, that's a real thing too. So anyway, hopefully it gets better. Daryl says, absolutely, Schofield was a mess. It's getting better. Very nervous when our kids drive by there. Yeah, see, Daryl, me too. Like, it's just, when you have kids, it's like, it's a whole new. I always tell people you don't, when you have a baby and then they finally are through the like infant where they can't give you any cues or anything, then you're like, okay, you take a little bit of a breath. But as soon as they start to do other stuff, well, you start to worry. And then as soon as they start sitting up, well, then you're worried they're going to fall back. And then when they start eating food, you're afraid they're going to start choking. And then, and then, as soon as they start standing up, they start to be a little bit more, agile. Well, okay, well, then they're going to climb things. Okay, what if they climb? Then they're going to fall down. What if they climb out of their crib? They're going to hit their head. Well, what if they can do stairs? Okay, well, they can do stairs, but can they always do stairs? They may fall down the stairs. It is constant. And that's just when they're little. Wait till they get older. They go to school. They're getting on the bus. They're getting off the bus. Do they trip? They fall. My daughter fell off the bus, on the bus. I can't remember, Elizabeth, if you're here, banged up her knee pretty bad. Worry about stuff like that. Then when they start to get older and then they're out driving. So yeah, it is constant. And then guess what? Even when they're adult people, you are still constantly worried about them. It just happens all the time. But I am with you, Daryl. I thankfully we have these lovely gadgets where we can kind of track where they are, which helps ease our mind, because the number of times when my son would be driving back from college and I could keep, eyes on him, like, okay, he's through that section. Okay, he's through that intersection now. Okay, now he's on that long stretch of road. He'll be fine, like things like that. So anyway, all right, let's move on. Let's go on to Scoop. Okay, so the Orange County budget for 2025-2026 scheduled to fund a new fire station. Woohoo! They're in Horizon West. If you know, then you know. If you don't know, our fire station is right there in this little kind of trailer area back behind Orlando Health Hospital. So we are so excited that they're now, it's been talked about for a while, but just that the budget now, that they're going to be funding the new fire station, regional park, trail, Reams roads upgrades, which also is a desperate thing that needs to do, as well as that Schofield study in Horizon West. So nice to see that this is actually going to be a thing and it's not just, talking about it. Jay, they shouldn't allow larger trucks over a certain size on Fleming's Road ever. I agree with you, my friend. I absolutely agree. On another subject, on Marsh Road. Now, Marsh Road, Stony Brook West Parkway, turns into Heartwood Marsh, or some people refer to it as Marsh, but Heartwood Marsh Road. Down that road, there were lots of communities. You have Sanctuary at Twin Waters, you've got Waterside, you keep on going, you got Lakeview Preserve, you keep on going, you got Heartwood Landing, you've got all sorts of communities down that road. It goes from Orange County into Lake County. And when all of that development was happening, the construction vehicles zoom, zoom, zoom up and down that road, And now if you drive that road, you will see that the speed limit is now 25 miles an hour the entire way down that road. I think it goes to 35 once you hit Lake County. But they did that because of the noise, because, it was probably not so much for the road being able to handle the traffic. That was probably more of a nuisance thing for all of those homeowners that purchased there. But at any rate, so you'll see that if you drive down that section of the road, you'll see that the speed limit is a lot slower. They put these little roundabouts in there to kind of help as well. So yeah, it's they try to make everybody happy. They need the development and they need the construction. They need that to continue, but they also need to make the community happy and the residents who've invested their life savings sometimes into the area, and they're going to help the area grow. They're going to support it by shopping there and purchasing things there. So I can't assume to have the right answer for everybody, but at least we know that, like, on that road, it's a nuisance, it's a pain, because you're like, oh, can I be going any slower? Yeah, don't go fast, because there's also a lot of ticket will be given on that road. So anyway, all right. So, but yeah, so that was kind of our little thing there. All right, let's move on to, cup. Okay, so after last week, and I haven't done it this week. Woohoo! Yay me! I haven't cried today yet on coffee time anyway. Last week was 8 months that Eric had passed to the day, so it was really rough. There was lots of things that are rough all the time. There's really no way to explain it. There will just be things randomly that get you, that you think about, that you see, that you hear, that you smell, that you touch. There's something that triggers things constantly, all the time, and it's never the same. But last week I kind of had my little meltdown again, multiple times. But it was very sweet, because here's the people that reached out to me that I just wanted to, and so many more, by the way, that just kind of sent me these messages. Wendy and Audrey, I had actually not heard from them before. They're not clients of mine. I don't think we've ever communicated. They never emailed. They've never, other than just watching coffee time, watching the video tours and things like that. They sent me a really, really, really sweet text message. Bill and Ruth, of course, I adore them. Gigi sent some stuff out. Kimberly and Devlin, Darla, Sandy, and so many more. I just want to thank you. I feel bad when I have my moments and you have to experience that, because I can't control it, and I don't want anyone to do that, because I know it makes you feel awkward. So I apologize for that. But I also just appreciate you guys so much. The constant little messages and just text messages and just emails and things. I appreciate it. It does not go unnoticed. It definitely helps. But last week was a rough Monday, and so I want to thank you guys for reaching out and taking time to be sweet to me. And that's what I tell people: don't be sweet to me, because you being nice to me is what sets me off, and I start crying. So just be mean to me, okay? All right, good. All right, let's go to some listings, shall we? Oops, sorry. Okay, listing spotlight. Today we are going to go back, and we are doing a listing spotlight for the beautiful home in Winding Bay. This was built by Rockwell Homes. The community itself had both K. Hovnanian as well as Rockwell Homes originally built in it. It is in Horizon West. This is right off of Avalon Road. Great location, super close to Disney. This home is a 4-bedroom, 3-bath home, fenced in backyard, screened in lanai area, community amenities. There is a community pool there. And the sellers are offering a $15,000 closing cost contribution. And in addition, there's going to be an open house on Saturday from 12 to 3. Leslie is going to host that. So she's going to be there. There's actually, and this is an example, guys. This is an example of homes that are in, and this is not the only listing in the neighborhood. There are several homes for sale in this particular community, just because if they weren't all for sale at the same time, you wouldn't notice it, right? Because if it had gone on the market, that one sold, and then a month later, that one goes on the market, and 2 months later, that one sold. But when things aren't selling and more homes come available, then you have several that are for sale in the same community. And so sometimes, we'll put together, or one of the listing agents will put together a, kind of like, hey, let's do a community open house, so that all the listings that are there, anybody that wants to participate, that way, if you want, to live in that area, you'll have several houses to choose from. Sometimes it works. If nothing else, it's a great opportunity to attempt to get some more foot traffic out there, and to let people, on their own kind of be able to come out and go see these open houses, and hopefully this is the right home for you. It's a beautiful home. Again, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths. And this is, this one has the fenced in backyard. It has the screened in lanai. They've got some beautiful kind of shiplap that they've done in there. Some beautiful cute built-ins in the laundry room. So it's a great home. So hopefully it'll be one that you're interested in, just lowered to $665,000. So if you're interested, there's an open house there this Saturday from 12 to 3, and Leslie will be hosting that. So thank you, Leslie, for doing that. And then let's keep on to the other listings. We have, well, the first one that we just talked about is the one that's having the open house, the Mineola 2-story. That one is on the market as well. We have the Windermere Townhome. Actually just had, so this, can I vent again? I'm going to vent again. So we just had a showing at the Windermere Townhome. Okay. That is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath home, 2.5 bath home, actually 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bath home. So it's in the MLS as how many bedrooms did I just say? 2 bedrooms. So we had a showing, and they provided feedback, and they're like, oh, they really wanted a 3-bedroom. They were disappointed that it wasn't 3 bedrooms. No one ever told you it was 3 bedrooms. It's 2 bedrooms. So if you wanted 3, why would you go see one that's 2? And it boggles my mind. It just boggles my mind. I understand sometimes they're like, well, they can make do, but bedrooms are not usually something you could do without, especially if it's a townhome. You kind of need that extra space. Anyway, very frustrating. But we are getting showings, which is, by the way, really good, because it's telling me that that one is priced. It's not scaring anybody away. People are still coming to look at it, which is exactly what we want. The Davenport 2-story, we're probably going to be, I've been waiting for this is actually interesting. I spoke with a homeowner last night, actually. They sent me a message because we were going to do another state of the listing. Is something that I'll do for the clients every X amount of time as things pass, just to go, okay, well, let's see what we need to do to either revamp it. Do we need to make a correction? Are we getting a lot of showings? It's just not the right thing. Are we getting the same consistent feedback? Maybe we need to address that, whatever the case is. But I was waiting for a home that could be a good comp to close. So as the listing agent, I wanted to wait and see when that home closed, what did it actually sell for, and was there a seller concession? Because that's going to be a direct comp for my listing in Davenport 2-story, how that will affect how I advise them to adjust our list price moving forward. So that's what I'm waiting on. I'm waiting for that other one to close. It's supposed to close here early next week. So probably going to be making a change on that one. Winter Garden Gated Community. This one is a really nice house, guys. This is in Lakeview Preserve off of Marsh Road. It is in Winter Garden, Orange County Schools and Taxes. It's one of those special little bridges the kind of county line there. Nice, hefty closing cost contribution on that one. Really beautiful. 55 plus in Kissimmee. Had a couple showings there, honestly, over the weekend too. Super excited about that. That when you get the showings, at least people aren't scared, and that's what we're going for. We just got to get the people in the door, because they're not going to buy it if we don't get them in the door, right? So there we go. Happy that that's a good one. Again, there's a $10,000 closing cost contribution on that one. And then the Hawksmoor Townhome, there's also a closing cost contribution. Oh, no, there's not. We removed the closing cost contribution. We lowered the price. So that's what we did on that one. Anyway, so there's some listings. So let me see. Melody, she says, why would you go to a 2-bedroom when you want a 3? And if you do look at the 2, no fussing about a room count. Yeah, you know what? Oh, bother is right. It is just, seriously, it's just tedious. It's just tedious. Now, if somebody said, you know what, I really need that 3rd bedroom, but if it was big enough, I could do a 2-bedroom. So maybe that's the case. But when you tell me in the feedback that they send, really wanted a 3-bedroom, it's like, then why did you saw? And here's the thing. This is what you have to know about me. When someone says something like that, my first thought is, did I screw up? Did I put 3 bedrooms in the listing? I know I didn't. I did it first because Public Records has it wrong, by the way. In that whole little area, Public Records shows them as 3 bedrooms. They're not. So I corrected it in the very early stages of the listing, but I freaked out, right? So I went back to my listing. I was like, nope, I'm good. I have it as 2 bedrooms. So I did the right thing. So why in the world did they think it was 3, or like, to your point, Melody, why would you then put that in the feedback like it was my fault that it wasn't a 3-bedroom and then I advertised it wrong? Real estate is not for the faint of heart, people. Anyway, all right. I think we're almost done here, guys. Except I'm going to do what I'm watching. Okay, so candidly, I am still watching A Place to Call Home. That was what I'm watching was last week. I am still watching that, but I did pop in a movie. I think it was Friday night. I popped myself some popcorn and got a fresh Diet Coke in my popcorn. And I sprinkled on some like the cheese powder stuff on the popcorn. I was like, I just want to watch a movie. I want to get my mind off of the other show, although I love it and I'm very interested in it. I wanted to watch a movie. I wanted to pretend like I was having a movie. And so I was like, this redeeming love. That's not actually the picture. Like that tells you in theaters 1/21 of 2022. Okay. That's the only picture I could find that didn't look right. I don't like pictures that are all like hot and steamy. I just don't like that. So I found one that wasn't all hot and steamy. That's pretty. Anyway, it was a good movie. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It was, I always say go back to a simpler time. But the era of this particular movie shows you that while you don't have technology and all of the hustle and the bustle and the chaos and the sheer just influence of information 24/7 that makes our lives both more difficult but also can make it easier with the new advances in technology and things like that. But even when you're in a different era and your means of transportation was horses or horse and buggy or whatever the case is, you still had your challenges with the way the world worked, I guess, at that time. So it really, and it sounds silly because it was just a movie. Maybe it's because I don't have anything else to do but just to be in my head all the time. But it really did kind of make me think, no matter where we were in the growth of the world and our country, that just everybody had it rough in some capacity. You say simpler time, but we didn't live that time. So how simple really was it? It seems like it was some pretty hard labor, actually. And obviously, if you watch this movie, you'll see, women have come a long way. So anyway, all right, my friends, I am going to get out. And Allie, yes, Allie, thank you. New video coming this week. Folks, keep your eyes peeled or just make sure you're subscribed. Yes, with your notifications on. So this, the video, Allie, correct me if I'm wrong. This is a quick move in from Parkview with the Hills by Lancey Homes. Big, beautiful Palmer floor plan. If you don't know the Palmer, it's big. It's big. Has 2 sets of stairs in it. It's absolutely gorgeous. This is a quick move in. It is available, ready to go. So if you're looking for a quick move in, but you need a lot of bedrooms and a lot of square footage, this one actually has the casita that has its own private entrance. So it's a true multi-gen home. So if you're looking for that home is, again, prepped and ready for you. So I think I'm going to go ahead and preface it so you don't fuss at me in the video. I think my mic was something on the inside of my shirt where the mic was clipped. Every once in a while, I think my sound gets a little wonky. I know. Please forgive me. I ask your forgiveness. It's just me trying to do my thing. So anyway, all right, guys. So with that, I am going to give you the promo. So I don't forget. Eric will be so proud of me. Don't forget to give me a call or text me at 407-848-8042. We can go over any of your questions. If you're looking to list your home, call or text me or call me. I will send you a link for you to fill out and we'll get our time scheduled to chat. I'll start doing the deep data dive for you. And then with that, I'm going to wrap things up. So everyone, please remember, stay safe, stay well. By the way, I think it's time to get like your flu shot. I don't know. I saw that the other day and now I'm all panicked. I'm like, oh, I think I need to go get like my flu shots and stuff. Anyway, so stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart for being with me every Monday morning. So love and hugs to all of you. I will see you next week. Bye, guys. Have a great week. Bye.